Still Poddable, still Poddable. The Boston Celtics still Poddable, still Poddable. Oh yeah! Still Poddable, still Poddable. The Boston Celtics still Poddable, still Poddable. Banner 19.
Beat Rob, Jim, Pekka, Jake King.
Still Poddable, still Poddable.
The Caesar on the court to get another ring.
Still Poddable, still Poddable.
Everybody in the chat now sing.
Still Poddable, still Poddable. Still Poddable, still Poddable. The Boston Celtics still Poddable, still Poddable. Oh yeah!
Shut your ass up, man.
You guys always have it here.
Welcome back to Still Poddable! This is the best Celtics podcast on the internet, on Al Gore's internet. For that being said, I am Sam Jam Packard. That is Sean Gauthier, producer extraordinaire, actor, model, dancer. You can go see him on Hairspray this weekend at what theater, Sean?
Riverside Theater Works, Hyde Park. Come through.
Sold out shows all last weekend because you know what we do around here? We win. We win at the theater and we win at the basketball court. And you know what we do? We do not lose to the New York Knicks this season. The Celtics sweep the New York Knicks 4-0 in a game I don't think the Celtics even played that well. The Knicks needed this game. The Knicks had to have this game to have any sort of confidence going into the second round of the playoffs. They had this, this 10-2 run to trying to close the game out. They're down by 3. Splash! Jason Tatum tie game. Then you go into overtime. You're trading blows back and forth. Kristaps Porzingis knocks down his 8th three of the night from about 30 feet and just wins one for the Celtics down in New York. This was a game where Jaylen Brown, and we'll get to Jaylen Brown later, just playing so he only has 65 games. Pretty fairly obvious at this point. No Al Horford. Did not matter. Celtics come in and sweep the Knicks. And you know what, Sean? It was fun to watch a basketball game I cared about. It hasn't happened in basically the last 2 weeks. So it was fun to feel the ups and downs of basketball again.
Yeah, I mean, anyone in the Still Poddable chat, shout out to the chat. I was really in there tonight. But everyone in the chat knows the refs were making me drink early in this game. The refs really tried to make me hate this basketball game, but it was a fun game. The Knicks are the perfect level of good to watch against the Celtics, where I at no point thought they were going to win, but it was still fun. That's what I want.
Yeah. And you don't like any of the Knicks. You've never liked a Knick fan. Ben Stiller, severance was overrated. Tracy Morgan threw up all over the court. Carmelo Anthony's never won a championship. Fat Joe, it's in his name. I don't even know if he was there tonight. Benny Blanco doesn't deserve old what's-her-face there. I don't remember her name. I wanted to say Sabrina Carpenter, but Selena Gomez, yeah.
There you go.
There's just never been a Knicks fan I've enjoyed talking ball with because they're all arrogant bastards. Bing bong, they lost. And it's just the Knicks play a very physical style of basketball, which part of me respects, I guess, allegedly. But OG was beating the shit out of Jason Tatum. As soon as Jason Tatum basically cooked Mikal Bridges, I think on 4 consecutive possessions just with mid-range jumpers. And they're like, all right, we got to switch OG onto him. OG's a little bit bigger. And OG, they were playing extremely physically. Josh Hart plays extremely physically. And I think that's the thing that was frustrating about the refs is anytime there's a call, if it's going to be a physical game and you're going to let the teams beat the shit out of each other, let the teams beat the shit out of each other. But don't call some ticky-tack stuff. Or it's just be consistent. And especially, I think this is an interesting game just looking forward for the playoffs because I feel like that is the formula to try and slow down the Celtics is be as physical as possible. Be like the old Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks defense. Foul on every single play because they can't call it on every single play. It just so happens if you're going to do that, you also need to have a team that can kind of switch through everything. And the Knicks still have Karl Anthony Towns who had a pretty phenomenal game. It was very good in the first half, but it's just still able to attack him and put him in pick and roll. And it allowed Jason Tatum to score 32 points and allowed just the simple pick and pop of Kristaps Porzingis. He knocked down 8 threes tonight. And a lot of that is just because he has so much space when he's bringing Towns into the action. Also, Kristaps hit some ridiculously deep ones tonight. But
yeah,
the Celtics just have their number.
And especially if you add in, like, first of all, I heard someone on the broadcast said, like, called Karl Anthony Towns one of the best 3-point shooting centers in the league. And I was like,
Karl Anthony Towns has said he's the best 3-point shooting center of all time. So
yeah, just a horrific take. But you add in, like, you think about him having to play against Kristaps and Al when Al's back in these games, and it's like, yeah, I would be so much more confident having either of those Celtics shooting than I would Karl Anthony Towns. And like you thought tonight, like you give Porzingis that much space, and like he's knocking these down. And imagine those are like the same shots, but it's Al Horford in the corner instead. Like that's gonna happen a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's just there's no like where you can like the Knicks need Karl Anthony Towns, but they also need to hide Karl Anthony Towns on the defensive end. And it's like, do you want to play drop against Jason Tatum? No, because Jason Tatum's going to pull up and knock down some threes as he did tonight. You want to play up against the level against Jason Tatum? He's like that's been one of the strongest things he's done of just attacking big men. Although one possession. I guess I'll give an old tip of the cap to Mitchell Robinson. He did absolutely block the shit out of Jason Tatum, which was unexpected. I did not see that one coming. But then if you put 2 to the ball, even if it's just Jason Tatum coming off the screen and you leave Kristaps open, he showed tonight that he's willing to knock down or just take a shot from 30 plus feet. Hell, he'll even take one from 40 feet with the shot clock winding down. That was pretty remarkable. It's just, yeah, man, the Celtics just can keep rolling. They have 58 wins now. They have to win 2 out of their last 3 to get to 60 wins. And one of those, and 2 of those games are against the Charlotte Hornets. Like it's pretty much in the bag, baby. 60-win season coming off a title defense. I just thought it was
Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off. Listen,
you're so drunk right now, Sean.
I'm mid-Guinness, you know?
You're out of control.
Anyway, 2 things. One, just have to respond to Gamblin' Grant. For people listening, Gamblin' Grant coming in with some talk of statistics. Statistics is for the J King B-Rub episode. We don't do that here on PostGame Poddable. That's not
unless
the way this works.
Fits the narrative. Unless we can use the statistics to further our agenda, which is anti-Knicks, pro Celtics, and anti pretty much everyone else in the league. I would say pro nonsense too. You got nonsense statistics. Feed them to us here in the stats. 59 wins, he says. 59 wins. Now that's a statistic that might be important, but on the top of my box score, it says 59 wins. Okay, a touche, Grant, a touche. They only need to win 1 more game to get to 60. I just want to call out again. Start of the third quarter, I thought like the Celtics came out flat in the first half. I did not think they played great basketball. They shot something like 40%, 30% from 3, and it was just an immediate run by none other than Drew Holiday, the guy who hasn't been doing it all year, but for some reason just has shown up in the last 2 weeks. I feel like he's going to be a very important person down the stretch, especially if Jaylen Brown is at all limited. Like you're going to need the defensive guy, and Drew just showed up tonight. He had a classic Drew, 16 points, 2 of 4 from deep. That's exactly just the kind of the performance you need from Drew Holiday, and I thought he was key to just getting them back on the right direction, especially to start that third quarter.
Yeah, he was great all game. I feel like there was the one possession where he just like, it was like a transition. He runs down, he's under the hoop, decides smartly not to go up with it, and then just passes to absolutely no one.
But that was immediately made a 3. He made a 3. did that, and then came down the next possession, did a dope-ass spin move, and then threw the ball away again. And I was like, that's Drew Holiday, baby.
Yep.
Some people call him CTE Drew. I'm not going to do that because that's offensive. But other people might do that, and it's my responsibility as a professional sports fan / journalist to let you know what other people might be saying. But I do think he was just pretty solid tonight. Did exactly what you wanted him to do. Derek White, not the best game from him. He was 4 of 12 from deep, but again came through in the clutch in the fourth quarter. I think he's still shooting like 65% in clutch moments this year. And so fourth quarter, he has 6 of his 14 points, including 2 from 3. It just overall was just a solid performance. I completely forgot to mention the Drew Holiday point that I think is the most important and why he's the most valuable. Late in the game, he's guarding Karl Anthony Towns. And he's like trying to and he's making it difficult for Karl Anthony Towns to just score on the post. Karl Anthony Towns, who had a very solid game up until that point. Karl Anthony Towns, who actually was doing a very good job when he was guarded by Jason Tatum. And you don't normally see Tatum get just like kind of beasted by bigger guys, but it felt like Karl Anthony Towns did a solid job tonight. For some reason, he just can't do that against Drew Holiday, which I think is just mighty impressive. He's an immovable force. He's an old man, but he continues to win. And you guys should go buy Zenni sunglasses, sponsored by Drew Holiday. That's a free ad here on Postgame Poddable.
That's what we do here on Postgame Poddable. Free ads, takes that fit the narrative. Speaking of the narrative, legend Josh B, not going to be able to be on the show tonight, but wanted to make sure we fit his question in. Says, Packard, how you feeling about the Heat in 10th place and the Celtics sweeping the Knicks?
I'm feeling fantastic about it. I don't give a crap about the Heat. The Heat the Heat are diddly poo, you know? The Heat are poop people. I don't hang out with poop people like that. The Knicks are the 3rd place team in the Eastern Conference. The likely opponent, if they can make it past the Pistons or the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round. And just to have the series sweep against them in a game that they feel like they wanted so much more and they needed so much more. To not have Al Horford, to have like Luke Cornett just come in and fill in. Like it was impressive that he just kind of started the overtime because I think Kristaps was a little bit of foul trouble. But just to give them serious minutes and just like be able to rely on Luke Cornett that much. He only had 3 offensive rebounds in this game for 2 points. So it wasn't like the biggest statistical performance. But a fully healthy Knicks team, and I say that before actually knowing if they are fully healthy. They were fully healthy.
Yeah.
They didn't have Beauchamp or Huck Porty, who we all know is out with a meniscus surgery. They could have used Huck Porty tonight if we're being H, and we try to be H. But no Jaylen Brown tonight. And by no Jaylen Brown, I mean he played 21 minutes, 6 points, basically did not play in the fourth quarter. Let's see. Legitimately didn't play in the fourth quarter or overtime. He is a liar. Gonna put it out there. He said he's not trying to go for the 65 game threshold. Mighty suspicious when he just plays the exact number of minutes you need to qualify as one of those games towards the 65. Is it concerning? A little bit, because he's not moving extremely well out there. We did see him have 31 points against the Suns. Would I prefer he rest in all of these games? Yes. Generally, I just don't like it. And I don't even know if he's going to make all NBA. Like I was listening, Zach Lowe didn't have him in his first or any of his all NBA teams. And that guy knows basketball pretty good. And so I don't even know if it's like worth it. Maybe like, I just don't know if he's that much in consideration. And I feel like I would rather him just be as healthy as possible, but you kind of, I guess, trust the Celtics medical staff to be like, he's not going to make it any worse and might as well get used to playing like some on it before the postseason. But I just don't like the general vibe coming from, let's play him 20 minutes a night. And also in that 20 minutes a night, he's not going to have a lot of pop. He's not going to look like the same Jaylen Brown of yesteryear.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, I also just, I feel like with Jaylen and I mean, Jason especially, but with both of them, like they're also just such I want to play guys. And like I to the point where I feel like if it were more serious, then he definitely wouldn't be playing. So I'm kind of like, I'm with you that I'm like, yeah, medical staff's probably like, it's fine. Don't play him that much. He's like, great. I'm trying to get 65 games anyway. Let's get these 20 minutes in. I'll get the hell off the court. You know, it's like, yeah.
It's not ideal, but you know what? The Knicks should have been able to beat us without our second best player, and they just couldn't do it. And I think when I was thinking down the stretch, I was trying to think of how I was going to cope, what my excuse was going to be if the Celtics didn't pull this game off. Luckily, they didn't have to do that because Karl-Anthony Towns up 3. Stupid foul on Jason Tatum for 3 free throws. Jason Tatum didn't follow through and make all 3 of them, but got the Celtics back in the game, set up the next play where they knocked down the 3. But Celtics give up that 10-2 run down the stretch of the fourth quarter, and I thought they generally got some pretty good looks on offense because that's what they're able to do. It was Peyton Pritchard missed a 3. Derek White missed a pretty wide open 3 that I frankly thought he was going to knock down. Then Derek White just got completely shoved by Josh Hart and then threw the ball away. And they were like, amazing play by Karl-Anthony Towns. It's like, no, Derek White's falling over. And after Josh Hart pushed him, and they're going to be like, so I didn't think the Celtics process was necessarily that bad. It just so happens they didn't get a lot of buckets, but they found a way to win in the end. And I thought they played pretty solid defense on Brunson down the stretch. Josh Hart, who, again, begrudgingly respect, made some good cuts when you're showing a lot of attention to Jalen Brunson. But also Josh Hart, 3 seconds left before regulation, and he takes the ball himself to try to be the hero. You're already trying to be in the spotlight enough with your roommate's show. I mean, who would start a basketball podcast just for attention? You know, it's kind of pathetic for someone to do that and just put themselves on the internet that much. And then you're going to try and take the game-winning shot. It's just unseemly. And so you get my respect, Josh Hart, and then you're just a bit of a showboat, which I don't care for. Anything else from this game from you, Sean? Any other hot takes? Any other things you need to get off your chest?
I hate the Knicks.
Yeah, they are so annoying.
I love watching the Knicks lose. You said bing bong earlier. I screamed bing bong the second that final buzzer went. I hate the Knicks, and I love watching them lose. I love every offseason telling everyone that I don't think about the Knicks and that I'm not concerned with them and that I forget that they're there. But also, I hate them so dearly. Yeah, just deep in my bones.
There's just something about an arrogance of a Knicks fan who they think they're more important. It's because everyone's always telling them the NBA is better when the Knicks are good. I get maybe if my hatred is more stoked, then the NBA is better. But there's just a constant belief when they haven't made it to an Eastern Conference Finals since 1999 when they made the NBA Finals in a strike-shortened season. They just haven't had any legitimate playoff success in decades now, and we're supposed to act like they're this actual favorite or contender, and people have discussed them as a contender. You know, friend of the
every
show,
year.
Jimmy Goodtimes, I think, said they were the best starting 5 in basketball after the Karl-Anthony Towns trade, and it's downright poppycock is what it is. And so you're right. There's something about the fan base. There's something about the celebrities. I mean, Action Bronson was there. I love Action Bronson. The Blue Chips mixtape, I listened to that every single day for a year straight in 2012. Shout out to me. But you know what? There's just a sense of self-importance that feels undeserved. And maybe I'm watching Celtic City and it's you're going to be oh, Sam, Celtics fans are also pretty arrogant and sense of self-importance.
The Celtics
We
win
got
games.
18 of these, buddy. We got 18 banners. And it's not even just the historical franchise. The Celtics have been a top contending team pretty much since 2018. They've been, or 2017, they made the Eastern Conference Finals. They have been in contending for a championship for the past 8-9 years now. And so there's the arrogance that comes with that is earned, not given. Everything in New York is all Nepo babies. And they're all talking about oh, Dave DeBusschere back in 1976, he really had the Garden Rock in. And James Dolan's a bad guy, and people don't talk about that enough. Actually, that's pretty well-worn territory there, but people should be reminded about it, that James Dolan, Jamie D and the Blue Notes, whatever the name of his jazz band is where he plays kazoo, bad guy. He uses what's it called? Surveillance footage. Anyone who wears or says anything mean about the Knicks, they're tracked with Face ID, and then they're banned from the building because James Dolan is a psychopath. And now I'm going to get banned from the building. Don't watch this, James Dolan. Let me in the building if they play in the playoffs. Now I'm just ranting here. But Matthew Newman asks a good question. Why didn't they call a take foul late when Luke Cornett got that possession and Josh Hart fouled him? Your guess is as good as mine, Matt Newman. I thought it was at least a shooting foul. They just called it on the side.
I'm not convinced that the referee squad tonight has reviewed the rules just lately. So I think there's that. I also feel like the NBA introduced a take foul and they were calling it, man. They were calling that thing. And then they were like, all right, well, it's not the new thing anymore. And they've kind of mostly forgotten about it.
Yeah, it's got a good signal, though. We got that arms at a T. I don't have enough room here to fully take foul, but that's good. I always thought the block was the best referee call. Like, it's basically a dance move. If I was a ref, I'd be strutting my stuff out there and calling a block. Grant calling in with some historical Celtics Knicks hatred. Red always hated the MSG company for rejecting his George Washington University team in the NIT. Red rode that hated till the day he died. Oh, that's fair. That's the hatred I appreciate. So I like that seized lore from you, Grant. I didn't have a full junk drawer today. You know what? The junk drawer, I'm much like Jaylen Brown should be. Taking a little break before the postseason, maybe relaxing a bit more in the games that don't matter. But I got some stuff for us. Don't act like I didn't watch a basketball game and didn't, observe some nonsense, some tomfoolery. Don't act like I don't have a good campaign joke. I haven't seen a campaign this vulnerable. Damn, I can't use the one I already used in chat.
You can.
What? Haven't seen a campaign this vulnerable since Joe Biden after the 2024 debates. Wayo! Haven't seen a campaign this feckless since Michael Dukakis in 1988 when he popped out of that little that tank with that stupid helmet on. Haven't seen a campaign this doomed since Howard Dean went. You folks know I love a campaign joke. What was going on with the Carfax for tenders? It was
incredible. Incredible.
Kevin Harlan just went absolutely banana. Like, it was a full Ron Burgundy moment, and I would like to think someone on TNT slipped him the wrong copy. But how do you mess up that stuff? And why don't we have more cars that dealerships that sell chicken tenders? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and you go to car dealerships and it's always like day old donuts and like bad coffee from a Keurig. Chicken tenders. I'll go. I'll show up.
Yeah, you just get an air fryer. You go to Costco. You're just like, that can be a thing. Tenders for cars. Or why don't chicken tender places sell cars? Popeye's Chicken Hyundai. That was so stupid. Wow, that was outrageous.
Can we just make that the episode title? Just no context.
A couple more things here. We talked about the Drew sequence. Kristaps Porzingis, when Karl-Anthony Towns went up for that dunk and just got absolutely stuffed by the rim. Kristaps Porzingis, like, his first instinct was to gather the ball and hurl it as hard as he could at the referees. Thankfully, he didn't, because he would not have lasted the game. Might have got suspended a little bit, but I do respect him for being so furious. Like, the Celtics had to challenge. The Celtics won both challenges tonight, and then they couldn't challenge for the rest of the game, which is the dumbest rule.
Yeah.
So the refs make two bad calls. You call them out on two bad calls, and then you can't challenge for the rest of the evening. It doesn't make any sense. Remember
I'm
when I
with you.
said
You should get to
Popeye's
call the
chicken, chicken Hyundai? That was so dumb.
Yeah, you should just get to foul until you should get to foul. You should get to challenge until you're wrong. Like if I'm just right and you're messing up and you're admitting that you're wrong, I should just get to keep challenging until you're like, actually, no, we were right on this one. Now you don't get to do it anymore.
Strong agreed. Last thing in my notes just says PP Bank, which of course stands for Peyton Pritchard Bank Shot. You get your minds out of the gutter. So that's going to do it for us, folks. Celtics, I don't know if you guys needed to be reminded, but they have not lost to the New York Knicks this season. On the first night of the season, they blew them out by 30. And then at some other point, they went to Madison Square Garden. I was there. Blew them out again by 30. Beat them in Boston. Blew them out again. This time, didn't really have their best effort. Still beat them. Took the best punch the Knicks had and beat them. The Knicks can't even clinch the 3rd seed. They're going to lose it to the Pacers if they lose out. Oh, my God. If the Knicks lose out in the Pacers, that would be fantastic. The only thing that would be bad about that is that we wouldn't get to play them hypothetically in the 2nd round. I want the Knicks. Give me Josh Hart. Like, give me OG Anunoby beating the shit out of Jason Tatum because Jason Tatum's going to take that and just beat them and continue to make threes. He's awesome. He's first team All-NBA. Things are good, great, grand, wonderful. We appreciate all of you guys out there watching live right now. If you want more Still Poddable and you want to gear up for this playoff run, you want to be part of the chat, go to patreon.com/stillpoddable. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll get Jay King from The Athletics Reaction, Brian B. Rob from masslive.com. For Sean, producer, actor extraordinaire. For me, Sam Jam Packard, professional sports fan. We appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of Still Poddable.
Still Poddable, Still Poddable. The Boston Celtics Still Poddable, Still Poddable. Oh yeah.
Slow down from eating and drinking and all that wild stuff.